And then,
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Spin Rack. We are talking about Dune. The trailer dropped. The selector has it up. I'm here with the boys, Professor CA, Calvin Ellis, and PD. Say what's up, guys.
Ready to rock. Let's see Dune.
Selector, please play, because we have a lot to say.
all right. That's not. What is this?
Deserts of Arrakis.
My planet Arrakis is so beautiful when the sun is low.
Dunes. Oh, sand dunes.
Falling over the sands, you
thought it
can
was
see
curtains
spice
at
in the
first.
air. The
Oh,
outsiders
yeah.
ravage our lands in front of our eyes.
Is that hair on her nose or a breathing apparatus?
Their cruelty to my people is all I've known.
Yes.
Did a good turn in. He did a good turn in James Bond.
Oh boy.
Duncan, can I trust you with something?
Yes, always, you know.
Hey, baby, there he goes.
I've been having dreams
The man himself.
about a girl on Arrakis. I don't know what it means.
Dreams make good stories. And everything important happens when we're awake. Hey, you. You want some muscle? No.
We are House Atreides. There is no call we do not answer. There is no faith that we betray.
Smile, Gurney.
I am smiling.
The Emperor asks us to bring peace to Arrakis. House Atreides accepts.
I know you. There's only a way thing in my mind.
You need to face your fears.
Come with me.
Okay.
I need to be ready. I've never met Arrakis before. They're not human, they're brutal. Duke's son sees too much. This is what I do. Kill them all.
God in heaven.
Everything with guns off the ground. Go!
This is an extermination. They're taking my family off one by one.
Let's fight the demons.
What was the breathing apparatus?
The future of House Atreides.
Oh, yeah.
Man doesn't seek the lead. He's called to it. The answer is no. This would be the only thing I ever needed you to be. Listen. If anything happens, you protect Paul.
With my life.
Only together can we stand a chance.
That uniform looks different from the others.
Dang. Okay.
Yo, Dave Bautista as Harkonnen is like, yo, he looks crazy, bro, with the bald head and stuff. I'm there. It's supposed to show up. This is one of the movies that came on that special HBO Warner Brothers thing where they were like, all our newest movies are coming out on HBO Max because they wanted to boost viewership of that.
Yep.
And of course, it didn't seem to work out because they basically AT&T basically sold off the company to Discovery. Basically, Discovery is now taking over running this stuff, the studio. But Dune, it looks it's nice. The presentation looks very interesting. The only quibble I had was that whole weird armor when Paul Atreides is fighting, because that's the first time I've seen an armor like that in any of the shows. Usually they're wearing like the breathing apparatus, what they call the still and stuff that manages the water and allows them to breathe and live in on the planet Arrakis, where the spice that helps the spice that makes people live longer, feel better. It helps the trading guilds move ships across the universe, because they're the ones who have a monopoly on space travel. So they're these gigantic, like these humans who are in these gigantic tanks full with the spice from Arrakis. And they look a little bit like the worms when they get to that stage. But yeah, it looks fascinating. I'm definitely there. I don't know what to say. Look, my thing was with this the director is Denis Villeneuve, and I think he was the one behind. I think he did 2049. He did Blade Runner 2049, and the look of that is pretty interesting. But the story, I don't know if any of you guys saw the story. You can see similarities.
Trash. You're saying that's trash. You could just say it's trash.
I didn't say it was trash, bro. I mean, how do you put
Right.
words?
Say it's trash. Just say it's
But
trash.
it was different from what I expected initially.
Not good.
I probably
Couldn't
have
measure
to,
up.
but he did do Sicario, which I did like a lot. So I think that a lot of people are going to like this version of it because they've been working on Dune for quite a bit. This is going to be a two-parter, not a one-parter. Because it's a really big show. So I guess the first part is going to be, him becoming who he will become, and the second part is him taking over. And the main character, if you guys didn't know, was that guy, Paul, the young guy, who was talking.
Timothy Chalamet.
I don't know who that guy is. So any of you guys familiar with him at all?
Yeah, I believe that's his name, Timothy Chalamet.
I never read these books or gotten his. I don't know if anybody else besides Mars has read the books because a whole bunch of stuff that you're saying over here is news to me. And I'm like, okay. I remember that first movie came out such a long time ago, and I remember watching it on a lark one time. And after that scene that I already discussed with you, I was kind of like, all right, this is a little too violent for me. I don't think I need to watch this. I don't need to watch this any further. So this is almost going to be a new experience at the end of the day. So since you've read these books and everything, Mars, okay, what's the hook? Why should people be interested in this? I should
you're the expert.
even want to watch this.
I mean, the books tend to be a little bit more philosophical and they're dealing with, all kinds of stuff, the nature of government, the nature of people.
So I don't want to watch it.
We're not going to that. What they've done is made it more action-packed to get people to come out and watch it. They discuss a lot of the wars, but here they're showing what happens. The main character is a guy named Paul Atreides, and his father is Duke Leto Atreides. That's Isaac Isaacson.
Oscar
Isaac's in the show. And you have him, his family is from this world called the Atreides. They're very rich, they're very powerful. The emperor hates them or fears them. So what he does is that he says, hey, I'm going to have them go to the Spice Island, which is the spice planet of Arrakis. That's where all the spice in the world. I think there's like a drug that if you're rich, you're going to use it. It helps to extend your life. It makes you feel better. It allows, like I was saying at the very beginning, it allows these the Spacing Guild, which control all space travel, that allows them to pilot these gigantic ships through the universe. So it's extremely important for the world. And so they're basically the universe. So what they're basically saying, the emperor says, hey, Harkonnen, I know you have this franchise. I gave you this world. I'm taking it back, and I'm giving it to Atreides. But really, it's like a poison chalice. He wants them to go there, and then they're going to get attacked by the Harkonnens. And I don't want to go into the whole detail, but that's basically what it is. And what ends up happening is that Paul Atreides, he has been genetically bred. His mother was part of the sisterhood, and the sisterhood basically has been for hundreds, if not thousands and thousands of years, has been breeding superhuman. And they've been basically breeding the different ruling houses, because of different houses like the Harkonnens and the Atreides and others, and little by little, and making their gene pool so that it can have powers to see the future, basically. And then, of course, when you take enough of the spice, you have certain other powers too. And here comes that. And it's very important that, they're trying to, Bene Gesserit is what they're called. So his mother is not like the queen. She's Jessica. They show her in the movie. He helps to escape with her. They go into the desert to survive. And this marginalized group of people called the Freemen, that's Zendaya and her family, they live on the planet. They live in the desert. And the Harkonnens, when they ran it, they used to try to kill them. You see all those people who are lined up as they're lined up like crucified. They're constantly being attacked by the Harkonnens and stuff, who don't, they want to subjugate them. So they've been basically living on the planet. No one knows how big their population is, and this is what Paul Atreides will end up finding out. But for them to accept them, he basically has to become a lot like them. And so his powers, I mean, he's special already because he has been bred through this breeding program. His mother was supposed to have a girl, but she rebelled against the sisterhood that she was part of and had a boy, and that changes everything. So because he now is not following the pattern, and he goes there and he then invests the spice, and things change. So it already starts off. So I don't want to go too much into detail, but it's very, very,
Got you.
very, very informative, very entertaining. I've liked all three versions. People have complained about them. Yes, none of them are perfect. None of them are to the book. Yes, but I mean, it's the book is a very big book. The series is a very large series, and it takes in a lot of different things happening. But I mean, here he's the hero, but as you go further on into the stories, he doesn't necessarily turn out to be quite the hero you expect. But yeah, it's these people here is pretty interesting. I think that the very fact that they put a lot of money into trying to get it right, and also the very fact that they split up the movie into two. Like for example, we did the movie with Zack Snyder, right? It was a 4 hour. That movie should have been two movies. You know, probably two 4.5 hour. I mean, 2.5 hour movies each. You really get the whole story. You know, I know. I see PD squinting. Okay, I know, but sometimes stories need enough breath to.
Well, I mean, I thought you said it was a series. It was another movie by Zack Snyder. You're saying? You
No,
said
no, I'm just trying to give an example. I'm just saying sometimes you need.
oh, okay, Justice. Okay,
They're
Justice.
talking about doing like a 4 hour movie, but who's going to sit there? So breaking up into two or three. It's a really big. It's a whole gigantic world building where you're trying to understand why they went there. Why they knew they were going into a trap, and they were trying to. They thought they could outsee it, but some traps you can't see, and their
Well,
character. Sorry.
sorry, I'm sorry to cut you off. A question I had is about those fights. It seems like they're fighting like a hologram or someone that you could pass through. What is that about? Because ultimately the trailer looks good, but what are those fights? It looks like they're training things, but then it looked like it got serious towards the end where they were fighting in that same thing, but it was for life and death now.
So what's happening here, at least in that first training scene that you seeing with Mr. Thanos himself, Josh Brolin, um, he is fighting. They have personal force shields, right?
Hmm.
So
Okay.
what he's trying to show you is that you're fighting the shield, but if you want to get through the shield, you got to go slowly through the shield. Even though you're fighting someone, it's counterintuitive. Knowing when you fight with a sword, you're fighting, right? But here, to get through the shield, you have to slow down enough that the point can go through and end up killing the person. So that's what they're
Yeah.
trying to show.
Fun fact: they actually the original from the movie looked super super blocky, like these really square blocks around their body. So they really like changed it up for the trailer in the movie. And the fun fact is that actually Loki, the show creators, too are inspired by the blocky force fields from Dune for the actual TVA time doors.
Hmm.
Get out of here. That's interesting.
Yep.
Now you can definitely see that. And then, but it was also the technology back then. I mean, the
Right.
original in the late '80s and stuff like that. So yeah, and this one's later. But I also thought the one that was done, people complained about it. The one that was done in the mini series they had on Sci-Fi Network. Uh, I thought it was not a bad deal. I think the adaptation was pretty good. I mean, none of them are going to be perfect, especially for book readers sometimes, because they're going to always say, "Oh, this is what should have been." But give me a break. So the movie came out in '84 with David Lynch. I said, got the name pretty wrong. And the miniseries came out in 2000. Okay, and with Sci-Fi, and it did pretty well. Uh, it was one of Sci-Fi's highest rated programs when it came out. So uh,
So that means movie.
yeah, I mean, look, they've been trying to do this. Look, we've been waiting for an Akira movie for God knows how long, and that hasn't happened yet. I mean, the person who's come closest to doing something similar to that is but it's stronger, right? The video. Dun, 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 dun.
Okay.
So I mean,
Younger, faster, stronger. Okay.
yeah. So I liked it. I don't know how you guys. How's your take on it, gentlemen? From just seeing it from the first time on Dune.
Trailer looks cool. I'm hoping it's gonna be, I mean, it looks very serious, so, but that could work out well for it. So we'll see how it goes. It might not have all the, Hollywood jokey stuff in it, but it still could be, hold my attention. We'll see what happens.
What about you, Cal?
I'll be watching this one for the Spinnerack. Otherwise, I'd probably pass.
What about you, Professor TA?
It's dope because for me, like for someone who's never read the books and never saw the miniseries, it's a whole kind of like world culture that's already built up and ready to go, and it looks intriguing with the effects and the cast and the action. So I'll watch it.
Okay, cool. I mean, it's such a huge world. I mean, if you really like Dune, they have the guy who made Frank Herbert's son actually started when he passed away. They had their own encyclopedia years ago. I remember getting that years ago. I think we still have that book. But they also had his son came up with an author, Kevin J. Anderson, who's a famous author who writes a lot of stuff. Brian Herbert, and he's done prequels explaining the whole history of Dune and done stuff after the fact. So already his father's main, I think 6 or 7 or 8 books, those are like the main canon, but he's expanded that whole universe over the last probably 10, 15 years. Almost. So it's humongous. But yeah, I mean the visuals are stunning. I definitely like it. I like the clean look of them. So I hope the story holds up, and it seems that they've had enough time because they've been doing it for quite a while. Hopefully they hit it off the ballpark. The only problem is that it's like I feel that it's like Doctor Who. It doesn't really catch here in the United States. Will they be able to go? Because there's a lot of philosophical discussion in the books. And if you put too much of that in there, it makes the movie a little too heavy. So we'll see what happens.
So I have a last question for you, Mars. Are you okay with the movie, or would you rather have HBO's Dune, HBO series of Dune?
The series of Dune.
Like someone doing a new series of Dune.
I like it all. I mean, just like the Marvel movies. I like the Marvel movies. I also like the TV shows because it delves more into the world and different aspects that you normally wouldn't go. I think it's a great idea if it's successful, I wouldn't be surprised if they do some spinoff because there's many different angles you can go in that particular world. There's many different stories you could probably have if it's done well. But like I said, the budgets on this is going to be huge, and it's a big bet. And hopefully, I'm hoping to see both movies out.
Okay.
I hope it comes out good. I think this movie is they're talking about clocking out close to 3 hours for the first one, so
that's a lot of confidence.
Yeah, that's a lot of content just for the first one. No, I think they said its runtime is 155 minutes, so they've cut it up. So it's
And this is going to be available in theaters and on HBO Max same time.
Yeah, they paid everybody off. So
oh.
One of the reasons AT&T is like, yo, I'm out. You're not taking care of this stuff.
That's I'll be honest. If it was in the theaters, I probably wouldn't be seeing this anytime soon. But since it's going to be HBO Max, I can actually put this on the top of my list for when it comes out, and I'll have something to watch.
I mean, that's an interesting thing because I think that this whole concept, this whole thing with the movie theaters having films in there is the genie's out the box. There's people who are willing to watch a movie. They don't want to wait 45 days.
Please don't start this. Don't start this up.
I'm gonna let that go. So hey.
Like I say, when you went to the movies outside of having the social distance, have you gone to the movies recently?
Yes, I have.
So you have?
Yes.
And now you're saying you'd rather be home. There's many people that say they'd rather be home, right?
No, I'm not saying. I'm saying I rather like the option. You know what I'm trying to say? It's like now the school system, they want to say,
I'll take it back then.
We want to get rid of the whole hybrid. But you know what? I think for some kids, it would work well for them. You've always had online distance learning. So why didn't the school system continue to do it? Offer the option.
The school system is going to continue to do it. That's not going anywhere.
Actually, they said they're going to end it. They literally.
No, I'm telling you right now, that's not going to stop. That will still be an option.
Okay, well that's good.
You probably just won't be with your class. You'll just be with a group of population who just wants to do online learning.
Yeah, they'll be small. They'll do some small pods, and they already have teachers who visit students before. At least in New York City, they had what you would call like a visiting teacher. So this, if you were a teacher, you would actually go and you do one-on-one with students, and this makes it so you could do more one-on-ones with students in one day that you could have ever done in person. So they're not giving that up. They spend too much money on that. That's not going anywhere.
Well, I'm just saying the mayor has said himself. He says he wants to ditch the hybrid learning model for next year.
Yeah, not happening. It's not going to happen because you're going to have. I mean, you can ditch the hybrid learn. I mean, you can still compel people to come back, but the bottom line is you still have COVID. So you're still going to have. I mean, this guy's going to look and say whatever, and then he's going to look at whatever the attendance numbers are, and they have to. They have to have those attendance numbers. And I can tell you right now, coming back in this autumn, you are going to see some serious issue with the attendance numbers because you still have COVID. You've got people over here who aren't getting vaccinated, blah, blah, blah. So that's not going anywhere. They're still going to make use of that. The only thing they haven't worked it out with teachers yet. Because what they're going to want is for teachers to come in person and to maintain the online presence, and that's doing double duty, and they never want to pay for that type of stuff. So that's what they
Yeah.
haven't figured out yet. But getting rid of that, they spent a lot of money on that type of stuff. That's not going anywhere. Now,
So
Yeah.
do it Dune. Sorry.
Yeah.
Movies, it doesn't make sense to just say some theater companies are saying just stop the online thing like HBO Max. I think probably they make the window smaller between, I think there used to be like a 6 month or a 3 month window before a show went from movie theater to video or DVD.
They, they just haven't worked it out well, to be quite honest, because these guys are just looking at the bottom line like, hey, we want to make certain that we get the money. And I mean, they did this thing with Black Widow where you could see it in the theaters, or if you were willing to pay like $30, you could see it on Disney Plus. And I'm like, hell no. If I'm gonna get, if you're gonna ride me for money, I'm gonna go to the theater. At the very least, I'll get some theater experience, but I'm already paying for Disney Plus. Why should I spend why should I spend will be the equivalent of 3 months of service for one movie? No. All you would have to do is charge less.
So you're looking at it differently. I have
If you charge less, I'd probably buy the movie. So you would still make your money on top of getting me to pay for the service. So you'd be covered both ways. But these guys are trying to ensure, well, we don't want to lose any money. Well, I'm not paying you $30. I'll go to the movie theater and you'll still make money, but you're probably going to make what, a third of that? You're going to make a third of what you could have had 100% if you just charge less on the Disney Plus thing. So instead of $30, if you made it 10, I'd go for it. Maybe even 15, I'd go for it. So they have to come down on their prices and stop trying to, guard themselves so much. Well, we don't want to lose any money. All right, so I'll go to the theaters, and you can worry about getting your money that way.
But I'm saying,
Or just wait.
well, you're giving people an experience. But I mean, you can also look at the theater, the TV as a Disney Plus premium experience. If you have 4 people, look, the average movie here in New York City and probably out in Cali is what, $14 when you go to the movie theater. When you go see it regular time, if you go discounted, it's $10. So if you have 5 people coming with you, that's $50. So it's probably cheaper to do it at home for $30. So I think you have to look at the economics of how that plays out.
Yeah, if you have that situation, if it's me and it's just one person, if I'm the only person who wants to see this movie and it's $30, I'm not doing it.
Right, but I mean that makes a lot of sense. But I'm saying that I think it depends on the economics and how that works out. So
economics is that they need that billion back.
Yep.
Marvel got to that billion number, and they're not getting that billion number at home.
Yep, because those movies are expensive to produce, and these guys need to double, triple their money to make certain that these movies are profitable, as opposed to the $30 million movie that made $100 million or $200 million.
Well, I mean, that movie is going to lose money because the amount of money they've been paying so much for marketing for so long. They've been marketing the movie for over a year. I mean, that's not typical. You know what I'm trying to say? Just before the pandemic hit, they were marketing almost the last commercial, and then they thought they wouldn't be able to come back in again last year, and they had to cancel that again, and then they come back. So you had like 3 versions, and hey, they thought they were going to open up I think they had up until May at one point, and they had to cancel that. So I think that it's a movie. It's not typical that you'd be paying so much money for marketing for such a long time. But then look at it. Quiet Place 2 did very well. I mean, it's still in the top 5 movies, I think it is.
And this is a movie you have to see in the theater, because I saw I think the first one at home, and I was like, I knew this was going to be trash, and it was trash. And then I see it in the movie, I'm like, whoa, this is what I missed of being there in the theater. And then when it goes silent, it's like, zhup. It's like, okay, now I can accept that. And I mean, this is just, it doesn't have to be movies that are set up that way. It can be, I think I was at a premiere for like a short film, and just having some of the places where the audience gets the joke on its own, where something I saw before and then seeing it with the audience, and the audience laughing at a joke that didn't land anytime I watched it, something that I worked on, and then you see the audience and the joke lands. It's like, oh, that joke worked. It's like no one ever laughed until you with the full audience. So that would be sort of the thing that you lose, kind of throwing out the audience and basically the money.
And the money.
Yeah.
Because for Quiet Place, I forget the people's names, but the husband and wife team who produced or created the idea, they were pissed the hell off because they lost money on that because they were promised a certain amount of money before the pandemic. So I think they might have had a points deal, but so when they decided to show it online or virtually, that was like, yikes, bro. What are you doing? You messing with my bag.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But just to bring up one thing, Black Widow, it made 80 million in its opening, which is it's an origin film, is as much as Captain America, Thor made when they first came out. So people want to say, oh, it's bad, but those movies did better once they came out after the first movie. I don't know if there's going to be a second Black Widow movie, but it's in line with what origin films, a lot of those origin movies came out with. And also, out of that $80 million, 20 million of that came from on Disney Plus. So there was an audience, clearly, a quarter of the audience came out to watch it.
Yeah.
On the thing.
So, lower the price.
These are all new models at the end of the day, so there's definitely a lot of tinkering to be done and a lot of considerations to be brought to bear.
So hey, they lower the price. For me, it works out even better. But I mean, as long as I always do about how much it costs for us to watch something on the as a group on a discounted rate, and if we get it even better than that, so be it. You know what I'm trying to say? So for me, the break-even point was $50. Is it less than $50?
Yeah. Or do some modeling where you say, hey, look, have you been a regular Disney subscriber for at least a year? Okay, you get one free premium movie. Do something like that. Okay, so all right, got the Black Widow thing over here. Okay, good. I'm going to guarantee I'm going to be subscribing for at least a year. So you're going to get your money. Give me one free movie, any movie that I want at this particular time, and we're good. Okay, but get off the whole thing with I gotta, don't want to lose any money, gotta charge premium, gotta what? No, you're not gonna make any money there. The whole idea, I mean, this is like with using Prince as an example. Prince, the musician, he realized that he didn't have to sell as many records if he was working for himself. When he was working for the record company, he's getting like 8 cents, 9 cents an album. Okay, and he would have to sell like, do like, 3 million copies or something of that nature for the record company to be happy. When he was selling on his own, he said, oh, wait, I could sell, 100,000 copies and I made more money and it's all coming to me and I don't have to worry about all this other type of stuff. So that's where they should really be. It's like, look, if we can cut the movie theater out, okay, people still go to movie theaters, but if we can guarantee that we're going to make money this way as well, and a healthy amount of money, where we're not looking like, okay, we're trying to really, stick it to these guys where, hey, you're paying for 2 movie tickets just to stay home and see this. Then you ensure your service. So you ensure that people are not just signing up for one movie and then they're going to be out for a week. You do little tricks like that. It's hard for these guys to pull it off.
Yeah. I mean, well, for I'm sorry, you finished? Were you ending, Cal, or you still going?
All I said was they got COVID fever.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to Dune, I'm glad HBO Max does not have the same setup as Disney Plus, and I'm glad. I'm probably not going to go to the theater to see it, and we'll probably end up seeing Dune at home. So I'm looking forward to seeing it when it comes out.
They're losing their shirt. That's the whole problem. And so
Yeah.
I don't think the model is going to be sustainable afterwards because, like I said, AT&T, when they did that model, they have to pay out these studios on the because they have the profit bonuses based on how well the films do, and so they have to negotiate how much that is. And some people have to pay out a lot of money, and others there's been a fight. Like this director's been like, yo, he wants this thing in the theater. He doesn't want to do it both places. So it depends.
Yeah.
So hey, so we're wrapping it up again. Is there anything else before we rock out?
Bring on Dune.
So Dune, hey, we
Dune.
We like Dune. We think it's very interesting, so we suggest go check it out. Okay. If you like what you see, thank you. Give us a thumbs up. Spinnerack out. And Spinnerack out for our news about theaters. Later.